the environmental stewardship plan, I'm going to pass back over to Joe.
I'm sure they prefer to listen and look at you rather than me. Environmental stewardship plan. Let's move. All right. A complete and fully detailed environmental stewardship plan has been submitted to the Commission, and it includes our mission statement, purpose, goals, site assessment, potential environmental concerns, an action plan to address those concerns, livestock shortfall areas, water runoff, management actions, operational actions, plan implementation, how we're going to measure how well it's working, supporting figures and diagrams, analysis, tracking, and trending. We're just going to hit some highlights here rather than go through every single detail. The environmental stewardship in this context simply means responsible care for resources entrusted to us at Founders Ranch. An environmental stewardship plan is a written plan or a roadmap for planning, implementing, and monitoring the progress of our environmental management improvements. By having developed that plan and implemented it, prior to the first round ever shot on the ranch, I believe that it shows Founders Ranch has documented its commitment to the environment and the community. SASS has been an active participant in the development of environmental stewardship plans for shooting ranges, and that program was spearheaded by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and began roughly 10 years ago. SASS was in fact involved in the very, very first meeting and has continued to be leading. The ranch's environmental plan was developed using the guidelines that NSSF has developed, as well as the Environmental Protection Agency. The NSSF and the Environmental Protection Agency have been working for years to develop the EPA's best management practices for lead at outdoor shooting ranges. That document is here, and it's quite large. You're welcome to download it from the EPA and go through it if you'd like. But both SASS and NSSF have been instrumental in developing that plan. Environmental stewardship plan requires the understanding of lead mobility. Understanding how lead behaves in the environment is the first step that you have to go through to determine how it needs to be managed. Lead cannot cause environmental impact unless or until it enters in the body of a living organism by one or two basic mechanisms: dissolving in water or being directly ingested. Our plan's key monitoring element is the collection of soil samples annually for pH testing. And I believe you have a map that shows the locations where we test the soil. This is an important measurement because the primary cause of lead becoming mobile, that is dissolving into the ground, threatening groundwaters, is acidic soil. Lead's an inert element until acted upon by an acid or a basic solution. Acidic soil or direct contamination by the presence of water sources within the shotfall area will cause degradation of the lead. Founders Ranch and the surrounding area have no water sources as referenced above. Hence, the only measurable threat of contamination lies within the easily controlled acidity of the soil. The extent to which lead dissolves or becomes mobile in soil is significantly impacted by the pH. The lower the pH, the more acidic the soil. The higher the pH, the more alkaline or basic the soil. Lead mobility is at its lowest in the typical soil range of 6.5 to 8.5. And the reason for that is that in that slightly alkaline pH, the lead is bonded to the soil. If it becomes more acidic, then the lead becomes free and is free to move. In our clay soil, we tend to be alkaline, and that's actually very good because the clay will tend to bond to the lead bonds to the soil, and becomes very difficult for it to become mobile. Should we find that the pHs start to go acidic, then there are easy treatments for that. We simply add lime to the surface of the property and let nature take its course. Should we find that the pH levels become too alkaline, that is above 8.5, then we can add phosphates, and there are other mitigating things that we can do to keep the soil within the pH level that we need to keep the lead immobile. Oh, did I miss something? Oh, yes. I missed a screen. While an annual monitoring of the pH soils is an indicator of the mobility of lead present, and it's not the only mitigating solution. A lead reclamation plan is also of great importance, in which spent ammunition is periodically recovered. We track every round fired on the range. We know the average weights of the bullets. We know the average shot weight that the shotgun range uses. And so we can get, and we know how many targets have been shot. So we can get a very good approximation, not to the ounce, but a pretty good approximation of how many tons of lead are actually on the property. We track that diligently. We are required to turn in reports. In 2011, we contacted and opened discussions with a lead reclamation company for recovery and recycling of the lead on the property. It turns out that we must have a minimum amount of lead present on the site to meet a reclamation limit of 50 tons. We're not there yet. Once we get to 50 tons, then we will reopen those discussions with the lead reclamation company and determine the best method to reclaim and recycle the lead. Note that I said the best method because the best management practices for lead control is still an evolving science. The EPA solutions, and at the time we hit the level where it becomes necessary to recycle or reclaim the lead, we will then look at whatever the best technology is available at that time.